Alrighty.
Like it's good.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Hot Topic Tuesday. This is April and Trish joining you. And today's topic is the best nutrition and exercise strategies for menopause. And it's funny, I decided on this topic this week because I've been getting a lot of feedback about just comments, menopause is killing me. I need a support group, it's all kinds of things. And I'm like, you have a support group, you know. But with that being said, Trish and I chatted and we thought that this would be a good topic to kind of cover. So first and foremost, what is menopause? To those of you that don't know, which I think most people that are watching this probably do know. So, menopause marks the end of a woman's menstrual cycle, typically occurring between the ages of 45 and 55. It's a natural biological process characterized by a decline in estrogen and progesterone. Now, some of the common symptoms that we experience: hot flashes, night sweats, weight gain seems to be a big one, mood swings, that's another one, sleep disturbances, joint pain, and so forth. Um, Now, while menopause is inevitable, the severity of the symptoms can be managed through targeted lifestyle changes, especially diet and exercise, which is kind of why we wanted to touch on this. So first and foremost, so basically, more or less, it's not a death sentence. It does make things a little bit more difficult. As we kind of get into this phase of life, it does make things a little bit more difficult. To manage. It's not Things aren't as easy. It's not as easy to lose 10 pounds as it was when we were 25. So it's a little bit more difficult, but it's not impossible. So with that being said, the first thing to consider would be nutrition considerations. So adjusting your diet. So having a focus on nutrient dense foods. Specifically, some of the specific nutrients that you want to focus on are calcium and vitamin D. You can typically get those through dairy products, leafy greens, and fortified foods to support bone health, because we want to ensure that we are supporting bone health in menopause. Um, Vitamin D helps the body absorb calcium, and they're both critical for preventing osteoporosis. And as we age, as estrogen starts declining, then we are put at a higher risk for bone loss as we age. So osteoporosis is, kind of a big thing. And as we age, you'll notice that you'll kind of get into the area where your doctor is recommending, they might be recommending like DEXA scans, like bone scans, just to see, the status of that and to ensure that you're not, losing bone mass. Um, the next one would be, now, if you did not see the video several weeks back, magnesium. We talked about magnesium, the number one supplement that if you had to take anything, the number one thing to take would be magnesium. So magnesium is number two. Um, Incorporating things like nuts, seeds, and whole grains will help with sleep and muscle relaxation, which can be particularly beneficial for reducing nighttime leg cramps. And I don't know about y'all, but man, my leg cramps have been like, even though I take magnesium, they've actually been a little bit better because I've kind of doubled down on the electrolytes. But prior to that, I was waking up with the Charlie horses like for weeks. It was horrible because the only way to rid those is to jump out of bed and stand up. And that's kind of alarming at 3 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, the last one is omega-3 fatty acids. So omega-3 fatty acids basically have anti-inflammatory benefits, and can be found in fatty fish like salmon, walnuts, flax seeds, and they actually can help reduce hot flashes and protect heart health. They also will help with the joint pain that we can experience. So I've been hearing that a lot lately, just stiff joints aching, and the omega-3s can help with that. So the next one would be phytoestrogens. So phytoestrogens are plant-based compounds that mimic estrogen in the body. So as we start to go through menopause, or as we enter into menopause, estrogen starts declining, and then our body essentially stops producing the estrogen like it once did. And phytoestrogen foods are great to incorporate because they actually kind of mimic the estrogen production within the body. Um, So incorporating foods like flaxseed, tofu, and edamame, like soy products, may help alleviate hot flashes and also support hormone balance. I do want to give the disclaimer when talking about soy that I typically do not recommend soy or soy products for people who have autoimmune disease, and also if you do have a history of estrogen based cancer. So, like if you have a history of like breast cancer, or breast cancer does run in your body, or you do have the gene for breast cancer, I would not recommend soy. So the last one would be, and this is a topic we've been covering all month so far. The last one would be balancing blood sugar is so important. And some of the quick ways, which, I hope everybody has been following our series this month because it's all about blood sugar and all the things blood sugar. Um, but leaning on complex carbohydrates, the importance of, like whole grains, like oats, quinoa, brown rice. What they do is they will release glucose slowly, which is going to prevent that blood sugar spike and crash, which in turn can contribute to the mood swings and the fatigue. Um, and also healthy fats and protein. Protein is so, so important, and just eating balanced meals with having protein as the forefront of your meal, and then balancing it with healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, and vegetables, fiber, of course, and then having your complex carbs. Having things balanced will help balance your overall blood sugar, but also energy levels. So those are the nutritional considerations, and Trish is going to take over for the exercise recommendations.
All right, so exercise recommendations and awesome list, April. Like, sometimes I know we both sit here and we're like, oh, like maybe I'll add this. And I'm like, I have nothing to add. That was just like perfect things that we need to think about for sure. So strength training, that is going to be kind of our first big exercise recommendation because we hammer the topic of strength training into the ground for about every situation and, obstacle, whatever that we talk about around here. So it matters big time because as we're aging, we do have, a little bit of, muscle mass that's starting to decrease, maybe, or maybe the lifestyle and behavior changes that are coming with menopause are making it harder to maintain that muscle or, work out in an intensity to, keep that going. So strength training and having a great strength training routine is really, really going to matter, especially too if you're focused on fat loss or maintaining your weight, fat loss goals. Strength training will definitely help increase that muscle mass, which will in turn help us burn a little bit more calories. So that one is definitely probably going to be our top one for exercise considerations. So things to include for strength training, and this is going to be very dependent on where you're coming from. If you're a beginner to strength training, don't have a ton of experience, something as, resistance bands, body weight exercises, like you can start very, very simple. And those are just as amazing as, going to a gym and doing machines. If you have some experience, then obviously doing more, getting underweight kind of can be really helpful. Dumbbells, barbells, using the machines at the gym, all that can be great. Compound exercises, you've probably heard that term a lot. Those are really great things to incorporate, like your squats, your lunges, your chest presses, back exercises are really good to do too. And I would say, it really 2 to 3 times a week is great. They do have some programs that are kind of, we've come across lately that take workouts and shorten them and do them more often in the week. And that works just as well, really just getting those movements in. So next is going to be our cardio or our cardiovascular exercise, which everyone's like, boo. Anytime you say cardio, people start to lose a few people, but stick around because it's important. So the cardiovascular exercise strengthens the heart. It's going to improve circulation and also helps manage weight. So this is important too because in menopause, the risk of heart disease and heart related issues for females does increase. So we do want to have cardiovascular exercise and just movement be something that we're adding in. And lots of different options for exercises to include walking. We talk a ton about walking. Walking is so very underestimated, as an activity, but walking is amazing. Everyone can do it. It's, just put your shoes on and walk outside, or if it's too hot or too cold, walk inside. You can even pace your house. You don't even have to have a treadmill or machine to do that. Jogging, if walking is something that, is feeling pretty easy, you want to add a little jogging, that's great too. We probably tend to prefer more of a like steady state zone 2 type workout. Swimming is amazing because it is non, weight bearing. So if you do have some joint issues that can happen in perimenopause and menopause, that will probably feel pretty good for the body. And really anything else, rowers, and any mode where your heart rate's going to get up and kind of sustain is going to be good. And again, this is just super great for, reducing, like managing weight, and then also reducing the risk of having heart related issues. HIIT exercise is good too. I forgot about that one, but that one is also good. It's great. We've talked a lot before about sweating, like getting a good sweat on can be good. You don't want to overdo HIIT, too much. And I think where that becomes like a little bit muddied is many times places or facilities will call these 45-minute, I would say more like interval or boot camp classes, they'll call those HIIT, and that's not technically HIIT. HIIT is something that is probably so hard that you can't do it more than I would say 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. So that's getting your heart rate up in bursts. Like say you're doing a 20-second heavy resistance interval on a bike, and then you're going to recover the rest of that minute for 40 seconds, maybe even longer. So that is true HIIT. 45-minute boot camp classes, or those type of things. That's more of just interval training, I guess you could say. But HIIT work
And
good. Yeah,
I,
jump.
I was I was going to say that there's been some studies that just and especially for perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, that 5 minutes, even just 5 minutes of hit added at the end of your resistance training, workout, or just 5 minutes in general makes a really really big impact, overall on our metabolism. And like what Trish said, it's 20 seconds all out, or it's 20 seconds intentionally getting your heart rate up, and then the 40 seconds of bringing it down, and then 20 seconds, of bringing up, and so forth, in just 5 minutes. So it would be like 5 rounds of that. But that is, for those of y'all listening, that is relative. So that's different for everyone. That could be a matter for someone, that could be a matter of a light jog for 20 seconds, or it could be you're speed walking for 20 seconds. Like you don't have to kill yourself, to like you don't have to, you're like, we're not aiming to fall out, so relative, like what gets my heart rate up in that fat burning zone, 175, 170, 175, which the mountain bike does it for me. But what gets my heart rate up that high may, be different for somebody else, so,
Yeah.
it's like I have to sprint on the treadmill going, 8 miles per hour, to get mine up that high, whereas some people, they might be more conditioned and they can do like 10 miles per hour,
For
so
me,
everybody's
like
different.
now, like one sled push across a, thing will do it, or kettlebell swings sometimes, like get your heart rate up
100%.
pretty good. So it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like a traditional cardio thing that you're thinking of, like kettlebell swings, like a sled push or something like that can do it. But yeah, definitely great point. And I know in the past, like when I've done a true HIIT workout, I like the sprint thing. You used to do that too, right? Or do you still do it where you do the 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off 10 times? I remember the first time I was like, Psh, 10 should be like no problem. I'll probably end up doing more. No, I did 8.
Exactly. And I prescribe that
So
for
hard.
whenever I have clients who have, like, we are kind of customizing things for a specific fat loss, period of time, I will actually program that for them at the end of training sessions. But I have the rule there, it's never, ever, ever no more than 12 sessions. So it's
Yeah.
never more than
If
12
you
sessions.
can do more than 12, you haven't done that effort hard enough.
Well, well, I will say some people think that they have to like be or feel almost dead, like after something, and
No
and
time.
some cases that's actually adding more stress on the body to push it. So pushing it is going to add more stress. So minimum dose, maximum effect
Yeah.
works
And I don't
great.
know if the same, this is the same study you were talking about, but there is another study, or maybe the same one, where they're showing that burst of activity throughout your day. So it doesn't even, I mean, doing it all at once for 5 minutes is
Yeah.
awesome to do. And I like to kind of get things over with. But even if you can't fit that in, like say you work in an office building and you can run up 2 flights of stairs like 3, 4 times a day. Like that also has benefits. Like we don't think of these things because it's not sustained, it's not intentional, it's just random. But those also have really good benefits. And they, I think, did studies. They probably had a little bit more controlled than what I just said, but they tested blood marker levels and they improved,
Yeah.
just with that too. It's movement and intense movement too at times.
Exactly. And I've known people before who would set a goal for like say like a push-up challenge, like 100 push-ups a day. And they may not be able to do 100 push-ups at a time, so they would actually do, every, couple of hours at their desk that they would get up and do, 10 push-ups,
Mhm.
and then a couple hours later do 10 push-ups and, do that 10 times throughout the day and they would actually, kind of gradually build up, to where they want to be. And that works too. So,
Yeah, absolutely. But we never think of that. We're like, we didn't get to the gym, we failed. Okay, so last thing to round out the exercise considerations, we've got flexibility and balance. So hormonal changes can affect joint stability, also joint pain, as we saw. That was something I think when I was very naive to menopause a million years ago, even kind of starting coaching, people would be like, oh, my joints, and I didn't connect it right away that this was a perimenopause or menopause symptom, but it 100% absolutely is. So, working on mobility, working on flexibility, working balance. This also will help as we age, like reduce our risk of falling, reduce our risk of injury, and keeping us healthy so we can do all the other things. So, something like a mobility, that could be something you tack on the end of the workout or before a workout, like really good movement preps, warm ups are great. Yoga, Pilates, anything where you're improving your flexibility, core strength, core stability, balance, all that kind of stuff is a great thing to add into. And it can be a class on its own, or you can just add it into like spurts. Okay, so last thing, I think this is the last thing, right? Yep. We've got our mind to body connection. So, stress management techniques are going to be very important in the menopause stage because, as we've talked about before, it comes with some irritability, a little bit to it, and it's also just a stage in women's life where we're probably really busy. You're probably busy in your career, busy with family, busy with all kinds of stuff going on because we just like to be busy here. So mindfulness practices that can be done daily, like a daily practice is awesome, whether that's going to be some deep breathing exercises, the word I was struggling with, diaphragmatic breathing. I knew I was going to butcher that one. That can be used. It's very calming to the nervous system. That can help in hot flashes. That can help in anxiety episodes. So that's a great one to do that you could do daily. You could do as needed. Journaling we've talked about is really, really great. We actually started. Oh, I'll get to this one in a minute because positive mindset's there. So I'll wait for that one. But all of that stuff can be great, just any kind of mindfulness practice. And, again, we just talked about things like yoga and Pilates, like you could kind of combine some of those mindfulness into those. Sleep. Oh gosh, we talk about sleep. I mean, just as much as we talk about all the other stuff, but it's very important. So, because also you do have some sleep working against you in perimenopause and menopause, like you've got maybe a hot flash in the middle of the night, the fluctuations and cessation of the hormones are just really just messing with us. And then again, we have this busy lifestyle, so it's really hard to shut our brain off. So anything we could do to help improve our sleep is going to be of utmost importance in your life. So consistent sleep schedule, huge, huge, huge one. Just creating that environment, a nice, cool, dark sleep mask, however crazy you have to look to go to bed, just look that crazy. I've got sleep mask retainer. It's like sometimes a double the sleep mask, you never know. But everything you have to do, sleep app with the white noise machine. April, what's your thing you love? Your Nest, is it the Nest
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, I have that, but also my big thing is I have this giant, well, I have like a, uh, gosh, I think it's a ceiling fan that's, I remember when I first got it, Tom complained and said, what the heck? Like that ceiling fan is so powerful, it dries my eyes out. But I've got this
One
high
of the ones
powered,
with like the long blades like that they have at
got
like
super, yeah, super long. So it like circulates a lot of air, but then I also have a stand fan. Also,
I mean, whatever you got to do.
also have a stand fan, and I will say, luckily, since we moved the boy back into school, because man, I was gonna joke, and when you finished up, I was gonna tell everybody that I now have a superpower, and my superpower is I can think about a hot flash, and then I'll start having a hot flash.
Oh my gosh.
I can literally kind of think about like a hot flash, or think about that last experience I had about a hot flash, and then a hot flash will come on.
I get that though, because sometimes like that is part of sleep. Like, when you're thinking of an uncomfortable or anxious, or of course, like you're going to save all your worries, like yeah, you can talk yourself into anything in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Usually not.
But since we moved the boy back to school, I can now sleep with minimal clothing on.
Oh, yeah,
That,
that
that
too.
definitely helps with the hot flash. That
Yeah,
definitely helps, doing that. But I would say that I have the blackout shades, the
yeah,
sound machine, and just keeping the room cool. Like keeping the room cool is huge. It's like a big one. And like there's a couple things that I found, and I've recommended some clients. Like I've got like a cooling comforter that's kind of warm in the winter, but then it's cooler in the summer. And then I've got like y'all invest in some good sheets. Like
yeah,
seriously, invest in a good pillow, invest in some good sheets. And when we're talking about sleep hygiene, one of the things of which this was actually not part of it, but a lot of women, like we coach a lot of women in general, but a lot of women, I can't tell you the number of times of, oh, my sleep is crap, going on and on about that. But then, you start digging a little bit deeper, and they're having like a nightly glass of wine, to kind of wind down. And that is actually, counterintuitive to sleep, So
yeah,
maybe looking at like what Tricia was saying, looking at, other stress management, other
mhm,
ways of reducing stress and kind of relaxing and winding down, and saving that wine for the special occasions,
yeah.
saving it
That's a
rather
big.
than,
We've had a lot of talks about that with people
yeah,
lately because it's summer, and usually that has increased a little bit with our summertime activities, and just the randomness kind of
yeah.
whatever of summer. But no, that one's good. And also limiting caffeine. We have to bring that one up because that goes into sleep too. That's another one that you'll find out like, oh, you're having a cup of coffee like at 4 p.m. Okay,
Well, and I think it kind of, when you take a step back and you look at the bigger picture, I think it's maybe the nutrition isn't on point, maybe the exercise isn't on point, the sleep hygiene isn't on point, so everything all kind of connects, and it's like, oh, okay, you're low in energy, so then you're overcompensating with caffeine in the afternoon, so it's almost like a domino effect, of these basics, these habits are kind of falling off, so in turn we're overcompensating, and all these things are contributing to other symptoms. And
Yeah.
then it ends up, you take a step back and you get overwhelmed with, oh, okay, well, how can I fix this? And sometimes it's the simple things that can actually make the biggest impact. um,
Absolutely. And go back and watch other videos where we talk about circadian style eating and like because that, eating again, like more of your food in the morning and carbs in the morning and stuff like that all plays into that bigger picture too. But we won't go off in a tangent with that today. But go back because every single thing we talk about literally circles back to the same stuff. Like
so
it's no reinventing the wheel here.
So overall, like in regards to what Trish was saying, with the exercise and even the nutrition, kind of take a step back and look at your own personal situation. So, jumping into compound movements or weighted workouts may not be good for someone that's completely new. So assess where you are, fitness wise, and it may be that incorporating some, body weight movements or just some light bands, to start, is the best place to begin. Um, So that, and then, take a look at like what your symptoms are, like what are your primary complaints? Like, I know, I don't know about you, Trish, but like, mine are, like I primarily, I would say probably the hot flashes, my sleep has actually improved. So my sleep has improved, but if you're struggling with sleep, for example, then you might want to lean on more magnesium rich foods, or make sure that you're taking the magnesium supplement. If you're having a lot of joint pain, then make sure you're eating the foods rich in omega-3s, and or you're taking an omega-3 supplement. I always suggest to use food first. So use food first, and then supplementing, definitely can help, after that. But try not to take the shortcut. Try not to take the shortcut of supplements without trying to work with whole foods, because
Yeah,
our bodies are going to process and utilize the food, whole foods, much better and easier than it will a supplement.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah.
Well, finally, we have positive mindset, and this is what I was going to kind of talk about earlier. So any kind of gratitude practice. One of my friends, she said she saw it on Instagram or something, and it's this thing where you have a note section in your phone, and you put "good things are always happening to me," and we actually share it among our friend group, so we can go in there and kind of read the good things that are happening to others, but also put ours down. And it's been like really simple, but like just really fun. And just like, I'm not usually one for like big journaling or, affirmation type things, but this has been like really nice. So even if you just set one for yourself, you could put a little notes in your phone and say, good things are always happening to me. Cause I'm sure you can find a few things in the day, even if it's literally the worst day ever, you can probably
I
find something.
I love that idea, and I have to say, because we run a lot of the weekly challenges in our Facebook community. And one of my favorite ones, which I think we've done it twice, one of my favorite ones that we've ever done is the Two Good Thing Challenge, where it's at the end of the day, you had to post and put two good things for that day. And I think it's great because no matter how bad your day is, it
Yep.
forces you to take a step back and you reflect on two positives. So
Mhm.
thinking and searching for those two positives tends to kind of cancel out those negatives. So.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that's a good one. So, yeah, to wrap it all up, consistency is key with all of these things, so consistency with some of the nutrition protocols. And again, like whatever is the most important one to you. If you're not sure to where to start, like we are definitely here to help you with that, because it can get like real fuzzy in the brain when you're thinking of all these things like, oh, I got to do my magnesium and I got to, you've like 10 things on your list. Like, well, let us help you streamline that and kind of reduce it and just make it more customized and individualized. But consistency with the habits and lifestyle practices that are going to be the most important to you is definitely key. Seeking support is key. And that's why we have these groups available. If you're not part of our Facebook group, it's Instill Nutrition. Just join. Like it's a private group, but we will admit everybody. So come join us there. And if you want to be part of our newsletter, or a part of any of the other resources we have, we just need like what email, I guess, or just join the group and we can add you onto that, because we are brainstorming all the time every day about ways to get you more resources, content in more streamlined fashion, and access to us, like where you're not maybe doing one-on-one coaching, but you have questions or something. So we're kind of having some good ideas with that. So we'd love to get your email on the email list or in the group so that you can be privy to some of the stuff that's coming up for sure. And also one coaching is always available. We both do, that's our full-time jobs. So we do that tons, and that is also available, so we can help you. Let us do the work for you as far as
And
like
I was gonna say, if you've got all of your nutrition, exercise, everything that we went over today, if you've got all those on point and you're still struggling, reach out. We can do extensive hormone testing. We can find out what's going on, what needs to be done, and so forth and so
go
on. Kind
deeper.
of
Yeah.
gives you a little bit more of a clear direction. So, with that being said, I hope everybody has a great week, and we will see y'all next week.